Hello, everybody doing today? This is Cut the Crap. My name is Andy Crone. I am an artist, and I sometimes do collages as part of my art practice, whatever you would call it. If the light is a little weird, I apologize. I forgot to grab a like plug-in for the light part. So I'm just using the natural light. We'll kind of see how that goes. If you are in the chat, hi Gordy. I can't see it while I'm cutting, so if you happen to see somebody in there, I can't see it. I was hoping to get it set up this time, but maybe next time. That's what I said last time. But yeah, I went for a walk like right before I came here, and didn't really expect to get back as late as I did on the walk. So yeah, so let's get cutting some crap and talking some crap. Yeah, so this just got like this is a catalog and random magazines that people gave me. This time around, I wanted to talk about like transactional relationships, or like kind of the attitude. Where is this? The attitude around kind of that whole kind of mentality, and how I think that it gets misinterpreted a lot. But yeah, so we'll kind of get going and kind of think on it while I'm going. One of the things I know people bring up a lot is like energy exchange. Like, you know what, pretty much anything is an energy exchange. So like I'm here right now, I'm exchanging energy with this paper, I'm exchanging energy with the viewer and the air in my house and the spirit of my house, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of like, anything can be thought of that way. But I think that some people tend to look at it like there's like an and this kind of goes into like what I'll be talking about next time too, because I have the fake expectations is the next kind of theme. But there's like this expectation of like, I noticed it with people and doing like favors and stuff, and they act like, and a thank you or whatever is not good enough. Like, and even if you offer to help with something of theirs, they're just never satisfied with this kind of a thing. And even if you offer to give them money for their help or whatever. And so it kind of made me think about, this transactional mentality that we have. And I think it's all right. Like, it's okay. Like, everything is an in and out. And everything is giving and receiving. Like, you're not going to have necessarily something that isn't like that. And the way it makes me also think of the book and or movie Pay It Forward, regardless of your thoughts of Haley Joel Osment or what's his name, Kevin Spacey. It is a good movie. I always liked it. But there's just kind of this thing like where it's like, if you are helping somebody, then maybe they're not in a position where they can help you right now, and that's all right. Because if you do need help in the future because of, karma and whatever, then help will come to you. It might not be from that person, and that's okay. And that's kind of my thoughts on that. But I hope that people can kind of see that everything, the giving and receiving in everything. For instance, right now, I am giving you something to listen to. You are receiving it. You are giving me your company, and I am receiving that. And I thank you guys, because it's always fun to hang out. But not every transaction necessarily has to mean that it's a financial transaction either, right? I think that's another big thing that people kind of pigeonhole the idea into, like, it has to be, you must be talking about money or whatever. And if I'm somebody's friend, their friendship, that's enough for me to receive, for me to help them, or just hang out with them in some kind of a way. I don't necessarily need anything in return. I don't really even need a thank you for that. Sometimes it's nice to get a thank you, but it's not necessarily needed. I think it's with some friendships, it's just felt, or family members, whatever. And some people show their thanks in different ways. Some people might like to give gifts, or some people might like to, do acts of service or words of affirmation. There's all those kinds of different things that you can exchange. And let's say, like I have a grandma, she just had surgery, and I went over and I used her washer. It kind of seemed like she, expected to give me more for just being there or whatever. And I don't need that necessarily. Just helping out a little bit is fine too. And I hope that she was satisfied with just helping me out. And in the washer, so that is that. I like all these fires, might be good backgrounds for things or something. Little space fillers. This whole bottom one. This strip on the bottom might be cool. Funny because talk about transactional. And there's a lot of, there's at least 3 elements that go into, I guess if you really think about it, all 4. The traditional elements, traditional Western elements, I guess in China they have 5. And it would include metal, would be the 5th one. So in fire, you have the earth, which is generally the fuel for the fire. You have fire. And you have water, which would fuel the wood to grow to make the fire. And you have air, which also fuels the fire and makes it hotter, or puts it out sometimes. I'll probably come back to those. So yeah, I just noticed that a lot of people they're not quite self-aware or awakened or however you want to say that. I need to put a dollar sign on everything. Not seeing the value, I guess that's kind of what I wanted to get at. Not seeing the value in things that aren't money or goods. There is a lot of value in knowledge or things like company, comforting one another. That's a good one. Making someone laugh. That would be another thing that's, and you can't put a price on these kind of things. Good health, I mean, you can kind of put a dollar sign on a good meal, but in a way, but sometimes you can't. Like, it just depends on who's cooking, like what day it is. But sometimes it doesn't really matter how much the stuff costs. The wrong person cooking can, in the wrong mood, can really just mess things up. This one's a little bit Christmassy. I'm a little over Christmas right now. I might come back to this one. The birdhouses are cool, that's for sure. There's my cat. She's hunting. I'll try to think about other things that don't really have dollar signs attached. Good thoughts. Can't put a dollar sign on that. It's hard. Some people will try to buy friends. Can't really buy friends. Good friends anyway. It might work for a little while, but eventually it'll be gone. If they don't really like you. Hopefully they do, but that's another thing too. As you get older, kind of in the mid range of your life, you're a little bit busier with work or whatever, and work and family a lot of the time. So you might not necessarily have the time to put into other things. You gotta think about it takes a lot to put into your house and into your family too. So that's definitely an exchange you don't really notice until your kids are grown. And then you might say, oh, I wish I spent more time, was nicer, or whatever. Even if you make enough for your kids to go to Yale and whatever Ivy League school, and they happen to do good, and doesn't always necessarily mean you have a good relationship or you're mentally healthy. And I want to encourage people to have good mental health and not really in the mood to cut like really small. So sometimes I'll just put stuff to the side because like a lot of things. I have like a square. That's pretty easy. Oh yeah, that's so cool. I don't know what I would get from there. Yeah, having a roof over your head and that costs money, but it's a security thing that you can't not in a war-torn country or anything, but we're definitely, I would say, divided amongst ourselves. So there's a lot of different kinds of wars going on. Not every war is on a battlefield. But all in all, still pretty good. Even in the most rural place, like I live very rurally, I still have access to everything, pretty much everything I need to. Toys in. But yeah, pretty much everything that you would need in life. Got clean water. That's awesome. And as much as we might want to complain about our water bill, would you rather, pay a little bit of money, or boil every single bit of water that you have? And I mean, it's clean and but we also know it's polluted with chemicals. Clean enough to drink if you have to. I'm kind of maybe a little bit spoiled in that way. Spoiled one way. It's so weird because you can't really say it's like good water. Right? You can't really say it's bad water either. But it definitely has long-term effects. I don't know. It's kind of turned into a pollution thing, but I guess that's one way I could go with it. With the transactional thing. And if you are actually going to put the money aspect onto it, a lot of people think that like a regular voting is legitimate, and I don't really think that it is. But I do think that you vote with your money. Like that's how you vote, because we have all these lobbyists and things like that. And then you have the corporate sabotage, corporate warfare. And that's one way we could try and help out. Is I'm really into, and I'm not always good at practicing it, but I do believe in shopping small or local if you can, and the microeconomics of things. I think will be good. I don't think that it's necessarily viable for every single thing. Like you're not going to be able to, like, say, you're in the United States and you're in a northern Midwest state, such as myself. I'm in Minnesota, so we're obviously not going to have a coconut oil plant, But I do think that it would be possible, and I don't know if this is still a thing, because I have not really heard about it much, except for sitcoms. And so, like sister cities where you would like trade with, some other place, and then your soil or whatever is really good for corn, so you could trade corn with them, or grass seed or whatever, or, timber, and then you would get this, that, and the other. And if it was just kind of like straight like that, I think, that might be an easier way. Or it would be easier. It would probably, don't want to say it would eliminate jobs, because it would and it wouldn't. Like, it would get rid of like tiers of bureaucracy in the bigger companies, so you wouldn't have like all these levels to go through. But like if you had, and it wouldn't necessarily have to be through the government either, but you obviously have to have regulations and things, because you don't want to get diseases and whatever. That's a whole other thing. But it would take that away, but it would bring the jobs back locally, so you wouldn't have so many people leaving the smaller communities and then going into these bigger cities where it's really dense. There tends to be more poverty and crime, and you don't get to know you can know your neighbors, but it's not quite the same as in the smaller places. So I think that would be a cool way. And I guess like living in a smaller place that's not really geared, I guess the older generations are more geared towards, support the local businesses and stuff like that. They don't, or, people that make stuff homemade, or garage sales, stuff like that. That's pretty big. But I feel like the younger generations don't really have the help your neighbor out kind of mentality. Like, yeah, maybe you're gonna spend $10 or $12 versus $5, but also you're gonna probably end up spending $5 on shipping anyway, unless you're trying to even out your cart or whatever to make it no shipping. So there's a lot of stuff that you can no longer get here, because of like craft supplies. There's nowhere really for craft supplies unless you want to go to the dollar store, and then that's again corporate, and we didn't even. That's like probably the most corporate store that we've had here. But as far as like just regular shopping goes, like ever, we just got that in the last 10 years or so. So it's definitely like the price points, yes, are one thing, but there's kind of like this quality versus quantity thing. And I think that also goes, you can bring that back into the transactional mentality. It's like, how many relationships do you need to have? How many of them are going to be really all that close? And it's okay and it's fine. And you have to also kind of put that on yourself, like not like a person in general would have to put that on themselves and kind of be like, oh, okay, well, I don't need that many friends. I still like this person, but I just don't have time to have, we only have so much time and so much energy in each day. And it's not to say we don't love everyone, but some people just are, and that's kind of the weird metaphysical part of it. Is like you can't really explain exactly why you click with somebody and don't click with other people. Like, it's just a very weird kind of a thing. Like, the chemistry between people is just kind of, it's a strange thing. Nobody really knows why it's like that, but I guess it must make sense because in some kind of a way, if you're thinking about design or whatever, even if you look at it again, so in like a micro level. So if we go down the line and we're like, okay, well, I'm a human and I have a heart or a stomach or whatever, and then you go down and you're like, oh, I have blood cells. So if you go down to the cell level, there's really only so much that cell can do, and in some cells, they don't belong where other cells are. For instance, you wouldn't really want blood in your stool or in your stomach, but it doesn't mean that your blood is unnecessary. It's all part. I would kind of always go and look at cells and then do the micro versus macro kind of a thing. Like one planet, we're one planet, and maybe we don't really know the shape or exactly how everything here works, because that's a lot of things, and that's just one planet. And so I've always thought it was a little strange to just automatically say, oh well, aliens aren't real at all. Well, they're probably real. Who's to say if we can visually see them, maybe? And we don't really understand what's going on these other planets, if they do in fact exist. And so I think maybe they are real. But I also think they could be something that we don't expect them. Like maybe they're just a different name for something else. And then that's just how we call them. Like, does a dog call a squirrel a squirrel? I don't know. Probably not, because it speaks dog and not human, and not English. Even a person in Turkey is not going to call a squirrel unless they're speaking English. So there's a lot of things to put into consideration. And thinking about that, that really, I don't know if it's, are aliens still considered part of a transactional kind of thing or what? I don't know, maybe. Are we their slaves? Then would that be transactional? Are we just there sharing space, sharing atmospheres? And is that transactional? Is there something like, do they also need carbon dioxide the way a tree needs carbon dioxide? And that's how they feed off of it. They're just thoughts that I'm having. This kind of looks like if dogs were in overlords. I love it. I don't know who did that. Sometimes it says on the bottom, like who did the illustration. Lindsay By? Lindsay something with a D. But yeah, it's fun. I hope that kind of some things, I don't know, seem a little bit overcomplicated to me. Like, do we need to put the label transactional and stuff? I don't really think so. Like, that's just, I mean, it's a give and take like everything else, you know. Sometimes I take a shit and my toilet receives it. Like, that's a fucking transaction. So I don't know. I think it gets like a little overwhelming. Did I go through this already? Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna move on to this one. It just gets overwhelming to me. Like, everything's gotta be like broken down and psychologicalized or whatever. I think I must have 2 copies of this one, which is really weird. I don't know how that happened. Because I already used this in something else. I don't know how that happened because I usually just get my mom will give me some of my magazines. I don't know where this one is. It's so weird to me. I usually just get them from my mom. Like, why would my mom have 2? I'm just saying. Anyway, so I guess I already know what's in that one. Coming up next week, yeah, I'm gonna go into like the expectation thing a little bit more, and kind of my thoughts on that. And I touched on that a little bit today, but and I guess I did a little bit last week too. But yeah, and then going forward, I want to do a review on this paper that I have and a merch tour, and then in the meantime, I'll just be kind of doing art. But yeah, it's been lots of fun. Let me just take a second to say who's all in the chat here. I hope next week I actually have time to set up the chat, which I don't see why I wouldn't, but I hope maybe that'll make it more exciting. Oh yeah, maybe next time I'll have to take I also have like a thing where I can plug my mic into, and I wanted to use that soon, but I think your name is Hank, I think. Is that you or is that somebody else? But yeah, hopefully next time I'll also remember that. I'll have a little bit better setup, but these first few that I've been doing, I guess, are good test runs, if anything. But apparently my mic is really weird if I have my phone case on. I don't know why it was so hard for me to think of that. So yeah. So hi Jenny. Hi Christy. Hi Stella. Pierogies are a thing here. Sorry, I'm just checking the chat. They're totally a thing, and I miss them. I have yet to find gluten-free pierogies, but I might just have to try and figure out how to make my own, because pierogies and kielbasa, oh, that's so good. I always use like turkey kielbasa because I can't have pork, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know. If you guys have, like, if you want to like the video, that's cool. If you're watching this after the live, welcome to you and hello. If you are watching me for the first time ever, you can subscribe if you want. I still feel really weird going through all this stuff at the end because I feel like everybody kind of knows how it works, but we can still do it. It's like a ritual. Um, crap. I thought of something like while I was talking. I was like, oh yeah, I'll say that, and then I don't know. um. Oh yeah, if you guys have like ideas for topics that you think would be good, like little rants, or I guess this is kind of like an almost like a channeling, but like a why am I having such a hard time articulating it? Like you're meditating, but like all the stuff that's coming to you in meditation is like coming out. It's, I guess like a channeling, but like I'm not really pulling it from anywhere but just myself. So I'm just pulling my own. I'm letting it filter through my heart and my brain while I'm saying it, and sometimes it might not, and sometimes I might change my mind down the road, and sometimes I might not, uh, you know, say things too accurately. Like I'm still human, like everybody else. But yeah. Anyway, I'm, I'll stop rambling after my ramble, and uh, yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I hope that everybody's having awesome weather and good health and good vibes to everybody. I'll see you next time. So thanks for hanging out.